I was admitted to the hospital due to an illness that had taken a toll on my body. The sterile environment and the constant beeping of machines became the backdrop of my days and nights. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the hospital's corridors, a night of unimaginable horror was about to unfold. Lying in my hospital bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone. The pale moonlight seeped through the curtains, creating an otherworldly glow in the room. As the clock struck midnight, I heard faint footsteps echoing down the corridor. Curiosity got the better of me, and despite my weakened state, I mustered the courage to investigate. As I slowly made my way down the dimly lit hallway, a chilling sight froze me in my tracks. A man, covered in blood from head to toe, walked silently toward me. "Hey, are you okay?" I called out, my voice trembling with fear. But he did not respond. His hollow eyes seemed to pierce into my soul, and a bone-chilling coldness washed over me. In that moment, I knew that what stood before me was no ordinary man. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding in my chest, and rushed back to my room. I tried to convince myself that it was just a hallucination, a product of my illness and the medication. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister had crossed my path that night. The next day, the hospital staff brushed off my account, attributing it to my illness and the medications I was on. But the unnerving experience remained etched in my mind. As my stay at the hospital continued, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease, as if unseen eyes were watching me from the shadows. The constant presence of death in a hospital often casts an eerie atmosphere, and I couldn't help but wonder if the man I had encountered was more than just a figment of my imagination. One afternoon, as I was getting ready to be discharged, a nurse accidentally nicked my arm while preparing an IV. It was a minor cut, but it required attention at the hospital's morgue. As I walked through the sterile, white-walled halls, a shiver ran down my spine. Upon reaching the morgue, I saw my friend who worked there. He seemed surprised to see me and asked what had brought me down to this morbid place. "I had a little cut, and they sent me here for treatment," I explained. As he attended to my wound, I couldn't help but ask about the man I had seen that fateful night. My friend looked at me with a mix of curiosity and concern. "You saw someone here last night?" he asked cautiously. I nodded, recounting the terrifying encounter with the blood-covered man. To my shock, my friend's face turned pale, and he looked visibly shaken. "That's impossible," he stammered. "That man you saw. He died yesterday afternoon in a car accident. I saw his body myself." My heart skipped a beat as I processed his words. The man I had encountered had been dead all along. A cold realization washed over me, and I felt a chill in the air that had nothing to do with the morgue's temperature. As I left the hospital that day, a sense of relief washed over me. But the memory of that night, of the blood-covered man who had walked the hospital's corridors even after his death, haunted my dreams for weeks to come. I couldn't explain what I had experienced, but one thing was certain: the hospital held secrets beyond the realm of the living. I had glimpsed a chilling truth that night, a truth that defied explanation and left me with an everlasting fear of the unknown. In the heart of the city, an old, abandoned hospital stood as a haunting relic of its dark and sinister past. Once bustling with life and hope, its halls now echoed with eerie silence, bearing witness to the tragedies and mysteries that shrouded its history. Despite the warnings from the locals, we couldn't resist the pull of curiosity and the thrill of the unknown. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desolate streets, our group made a daring decision: to explore the infamous abandoned hospital. Armed with flashlights and hearts filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, we ventured into the unknown, eager to uncover the truth behind the chilling stories that had spread like wildfire in the community. The hospital's facade loomed over us, its windows boarded up, and the once bright red cross on its sign now faded and weather-worn. As we stepped through the broken front doors, a sense of foreboding enveloped us, like a chilling gust of wind whispering warnings in our ears. Our flashlights illuminated the dimly lit corridors, revealing peeling wallpaper, discarded medical equipment, and shattered glass. The air was heavy with the scent of decay and time, and the silence was deafening. Each creaking floorboard beneath our feet echoed through the desolate halls, amplifying the feeling that we were not alone. Despite the shadows that seemed to dance at the edges of our vision, we pressed on, driven by a mix of curiosity and an unshakable desire to confront the unknown. As we explored further into the depths of the hospital, strange noises and unexplained movements played tricks on our minds. A gust of wind through a broken window would make us jump, and the flickering lights overhead would cast eerie shadows that seemed to take on a life of their own. In one room, we stumbled upon a collection of old medical records and photographs. They depicted patients and staff from a bygone era, their eyes staring back at us from the yellowing pages. One photo, in particular, caught our attention, a group of smiling nurses, their faces filled with youthful exuberance, standing in front of the hospital's imposing entrance. Sarah, one of our bravest companions, gasped as she pointed to one of the nurses in the photograph. "That's her," she whispered, her voice trembling. "The nurse that people say haunts this place." Mark, ever the skeptic, scoffed. "It's just a coincidence. There's no such thing as ghosts." But as we continued our exploration, Mark's skepticism wavered. In the corner of our eyes, we caught glimpses of fleeting shadows darting across the walls. Doors creaked open and closed on their own, and strange whispers seemed to linger in the air. The air grew colder as we entered the hospital's darkened basement, a place rumored to hold the most chilling secrets. The weight of the past bore down on us, and a feeling of unease settled in the pit of our stomachs. In a room hidden away in the depths of the basement, we stumbled upon an old patient's diary. Its pages were filled with cryptic writings and desperate pleas for help. The words seemed to come alive, echoing in our minds as we read tales of suffering and despair. Suddenly, a distant wailing filled the air, chilling our bones. The sound seemed to emanate from the very walls of the hospital, like the anguished cries of lost souls seeking solace. Lisa, the most cautious among us, couldn't bear it any longer. "We need to get out of here. This place is cursed." But curiosity and a desire to uncover the truth kept us rooted in place. We had come this far, and we couldn't turn back now. As the night wore on, our nerves were on edge. Each sound, each flicker of light, sent our hearts racing. We had stepped into a realm of the unknown, where the line between reality and the supernatural blurred. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we decided it was time to leave. The weight of the hospital's haunting past bore heavily on our shoulders, and we felt a sense of relief as we stepped back out into the moonlit night. Our exploration of the abandoned hospital had left an indelible mark on us, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved. As we walked away from the haunting building, we couldn't help but wonder about the countless untold stories that had unfolded within its walls.